Hello, welcome to the weekly poster roundup for the week of the 2nd of September. And we've got a few posters to talk about today, so let's get into it. This first one is called High Tide. I like how it's quite text heavy, and that's sort of made possible by the fact that there's just a lot of overhead space over our subject. Just all that empty space, so they fill it out really nicely with the text actually. And you can see that it's pretty intentional. They decided to add all the laurels to the film festivals. The credits are here in the middle. All of these quotes from the critics. I find it interesting how the subject is sort of shaded here. Normally you would expect the subject to be well lit, but I think that adds to the sort of mystery of the poster. I think this is like a solid B, you know? It's not overly ambitious or anything like that, but it's a really aesthetically pleasing poster. I would say it's like a high B, low A. Okay, next we have another Joker poster. We've already looked at a Joker poster. In fact, we've received 2 Joker posters last week, but the second one was quite similar to the first, so I decided to not review it. Even this one might be a little bit redundant to review because all of the Joker posters just seem to be like a picture and then with the same logo, the same text layout and organization. So there's not much new to say, but the reason I opted to review this one specifically is because the other ones at least had the interesting thing about being from like a low Dutch angle to shoot these characters. And this one is just a more generic photo. I do appreciate that it's like a close-up of these characters that are in heavy makeup so you can really see like the details. It almost lets you see the mask behind the makeup. I guess not the mask, the makeup is the mask. The face behind the mask. It's still an evocative poster, but there's just very little to say in terms of actual poster design. I'm thinking this is like a low B. Okay, Megalopolis. So this is the second Megalopolis poster we reviewed, and right off the bat, it's like amateur hour using the exact same photo of Adam Driver in the new poster. I hate it so much. Like, that's such a stupid idea. Like, you couldn't take a second photo because think about what it means, right? It's like you're sort of robbing the audience from this immersion into the movie world. When we already see a photo used for another promotional poster, it automatically kind of breaks that fourth wall a little bit for you because it just makes you realize, oh, some guy designed this, right? So I just think that is so lame. Like, honestly, that's really lame. They fixed the names of the cast. Like, now it's not as clunky as before. I kind of prefer this sort of horizontal layout. And I do like the symmetry in this poster, but, well, for one thing, it's like floating head posters, you know, I don't like that. And secondly, it's the same sort of cringy golden poster that I just really didn't like in the first one either. And then this eagle, or I don't know what bird that is, but it's very cliched. It's kind of gross. So I'm sorry. I'm going to put this in D. Okay, Minecraft. The trailer has been very talked about lately. And I haven't seen the trailer. I've never played Minecraft. So I don't actually know the reference of this photo. So, to be fair to it, I'm not the target audience for this, right? And maybe Minecraft fans will be like, oh, the 2 squares over this other shape, and to them this means something. This to me looks like an angry face. Is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know. Overall, I think it's like an interesting concept for a teaser, you know, just these holes in the ground, which I imagine that's kind of what Minecraft is, right? You dig into the ground, from what I understand. I think this has to go into C. I don't think it's a D because it's not like an eyesore and it's very simplistic, and I think that it achieves what a teaser poster is meant to do. Okay, Nickel Boys. I'm really excited to watch this one actually. I like sort of the color scheme here, especially because it's all sort of like brownish gray colors, making our 2 characters in blue really stand out, and that's kind of interesting. Normally people don't use cool colors to make things pop, and in this case it really does, in like a subtler way, I guess. And design-wise, I feel like the text is all very, very basic. It's kind of like run-of-the-mill, what you would expect from a poster. What's interesting, though, is the placement of the camera. I don't know exactly what's causing these lines here, but the angles are framing our characters really beautifully here in this really strange oblong shape. I don't think it's quite an A, but I think it's another high B. Okay, Nightbitch. This is a really cool poster. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The dogs. It's a premise for a poster that I don't feel like anyone's ever seen before. It's very unique. I like how all the text is like in pink and white. I feel like it's very female coded, like the title is. I always appreciate when a poster is willing to cover part of our protagonist's face for artistic merit. As far as marketing purposes are concerned, you don't want to cover your protagonist's face. Artistically, even if it doesn't make much marketing sense, putting the title right on top of our character, that's just very striking. And that's just, that's something that you don't really expect that often from a movie poster. I just like the layout, just the name at the top, the title in the middle, all the text at the bottom, boom, bam, bam, very symmetrical. I gotta put this in A. Okay, In the Summers. Right off the bat, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Saul Bass. He's one of the great poster designers, and he basically invented the modern poster. I'll most definitely make a video about him at some point. This reminds me a lot of a Saul Bass poster in just like the big blocks of solid colors. And I normally don't like when a character is repeated on the same poster, but in this case I actually like it because it sort of seems like it's showing a passage through time through these three sort of blocks. The fact that this title's right in the middle with all of the characters sort of surrounding the title. It's really, really pretty. Really pretty. I think that this has got to go in A for sure. Okay, The Shade. Well, right off the bat, I really like the illustration here. I just think that, I think it's painted. Oh, that's really cool. Is it? Yeah, I think so. For one thing, I always just like it when a poster isn't just seemingly made entirely on Photoshop, and this is clearly not the case. It does really feel tactile. I really like the logo here too. It's also painted, it seems, but I really like how that D sort of slants inward, giving us this really nice frame for our tagline. I think that that's really smartly thought out, really provocative with these faces kind of branching out from the back of this guy's head. It's a really cool idea for a poster. What is that? 3 A's in a row? All right, Smile 2. Clearly all of the best posters from this week have been kind of clumped together. I love it. I love this poster. This one's so cool. So it's sort of like these Venetian blinds, right? And this guy's face is sort of pasted across the blinds. Not only in itself is it pretty eerie, just that concept, but the expression on this guy's face, obviously he's smiling, because of the movie, but also this sort of high contrast black and white photo, really making that 2 in Smile pop. And it's pretty inspired, I imagine, by this album cover right here. So this is Grace Jones. Her album covers tend to be some of the best ever. And this one seems to have really, taken out of Grace Jones's playbook. But here, they apply that idea, apply it throughout his entire face for the purposes of frightening the viewer. And I think that it totally achieves that. I think this is an S tier for me. I get it's maybe a ripoff of Grace Jones, but I don't care. I like Grace Jones, and I feel like this does a lot to honor that original concept and does things differently enough to really, call it its own. 2073. Okay, well, right off the bat, it's very clearly a dystopian future movie. We have this main character here, and her face is framed by this sort of digital detained suspect immediately thing. What I like about that concept, which I think is kind of cool, is that it seems like we're the ones who are sort of catching her, right? Just from the mere fact that we're looking at her, and she's being hunted down, and it's like this digital square has come up for us because we're the ones tracking her. So that's a really cool way of integrating us into the movie. And I really like this use of lime green for the poster. I don't think I've ever seen lime green used so consistently throughout entire poster's text. It's quite minimalist overall if you think about it. It's very simple, but it really gets the job done. I think that it's a B. Okay, so this poster also sort of reminds me of a Saul Bass concept in a way, because not only did he use big illustrations and big block colors in that other poster, but he was also really good at using sort of visual metaphors to convey meaning and a message of a movie. And this is a really cool example of that, right? It's it's a picket fence with that one black post there. I think just tells us a lot about what this movie is. It's clearly about racism. I feel like that's just such a simple way of conveying message. I really love the way that the text is aligned here. I just think that it just looks really cool with the credits next to the text. You don't often see that. I think my one sort of gripe with it is this background. They use a flag effect, but it ultimately complicates what would have been a really nice simplistic poster. What I most like about this poster is how it's able to convey meaning without saying much and having a lot of text explaining what the movie's about. It's a little bit disappointing. I'm gonna put it also an A though, because I just love that concept. I just think that's brilliant. If I'd like the background more, it would easily be an S, and I think it would be above Smile too. Last one of the day, Wolfman. She's doing like a W with her hands, but it's sort of disguised as if she was just covering her face. So that's a really clever idea. She's lit in a pretty interesting way. Like it almost feels like she's being lit by like a neon glow in the distance, or like a TV glow. It's not too high contrast, but it does convey fear. All right, because of their sleeve, right? We put Wolfman on the bottom right corner, right? I feel like that's a good idea. And they've mirrored that by putting Blumhouse and everything else on her forehead, which is directly like opposite of the Wolfman. I think that works really well. But then all this text here being in the middle kind of breaks that. It makes it look so messy. If this stuff had been on a right alignment in line with the edge of Wolfman here, if it had been like that, I feel like, boom, a big improvement. Overall, though, I feel like this is like very similar to the Joker one. So it's got to be like next to that one. And that's all the posters. Let me know what you thought, what posters you liked. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.